This passage is helpful for us to read Walden. Why have many people read Walden, but very few have finished it? The reason lies in the book's abundant philosophical reflections and extensive repetitive and detailed descriptions. Therefore, if you don't have enough patience and can't understand or empathize with the author, it's really hard to continue reading. But after reading this book so many times, I began to feel that every page you casually open in Walden can bring you tranquility and a quiet enjoyment. The experience reading gives you at this time is different from when you just want to quickly gain something from reading. Well, I hope to meet people who are wiser than those born in our Concord, whose names are unknown here. Could I have heard of Plato's name but never read his books? It's like that Plato is my fellow townsman and my neighbor, and yet I have never met him, or talked with him, or paid attention to the wisdom in his words. It is similar to the reason why we should read Confucius's Analects, Mencius, and Laozi. We have heard of these people, but we should know them, and we should get to know them through their books. If we can truly read and understand, they may be more beneficial to our lives than mornings or springs, and can help us see new aspects of things. How many people have opened up new stages of their lives because of reading a book? Books exist for us. Perhaps they will explain our miracles and reveal new wonders. We boast that we belong to the 19th century, and our development speed was faster than any other country. But think about how insignificant this village's contributions were to its culture. Looking back at America and England in the 19th century, although they developed rapidly at the time, they were certainly still backward compared to today. Thoreau believed that hedonism prevailed at that time, and people were enjoying the thrill of rapid development brought by industrial revolution. He asked, what contributions did we make to culture? Meanwhile, in the chapter Reading, Thoreau felt that universities didn't necessarily have to be at places like Harvard or Yale, and there should be a university in Concord. And we don't necessarily have to farm here. We can print books and hold lectures here. He ended with an interesting statement. We don't want aristocrats. We want noble villagers. So Thoreau and Emerson, especially Emerson, who was a great educator, social activist, poet, and philosopher at the time, were promoting the universalization of education. Next comes the chapter Sounds. Remember that in Zhuangzi there were heavenly sounds, earthly sounds, and human sounds. In Walden, this chapter specifically talks about various sounds in the natural world. The sounds Thoreau heard living by the lake were definitely different from what we hear in cities. He said, "What's better than reading? Let's listen. The first summer, I didn't read, and I was busy planting beans. No, I often busied myself with things better than this. Sometimes, in the summer mornings, after my habitual bath, I would sit in front of the sunny door from sunrise until noon, immersed in reverie, surrounded by pine, walnut, and lacquer trees, enjoying undisturbed solitude and quiet, while birds sang around me or quietly flew past my room until the sun shone through my western window, or the distant sound of a traveler's carriage on the highway reminded me that time was passing. I grew up in these seasons. Like corn grows in the evening, such leisure is much more beneficial than any physical labor. This did not waste the time of my life, but greatly extended the life I should have had. Finally, I understand what Easterners advocate. Being diligent in contemplation and abandoning mundane tasks. Most of the time, I don't care about how time passes. If you have read Relativity, you will find that time is a unique perception of humanity. If you overly care about the passage of time, you will become very anxious. Some people can only find pleasure from the outside, from socializing and drama. Compared with these people, my lifestyle has at least one advantage, which is that my life itself has become my entertainment and is constantly being renewed. A narrow path leads to the lake below. In my front yard, there are strawberries, blackberries, globe amaranth, St. John's wort, goldenrod, dwarf oaks, Prunus pumila L, blueberries, and peanuts. This summer afternoon, I sit by the window, eagles circling in the clear space before my forest. Wild pigeons fly in groups of 3 or 4 past me, or perch uneasily on the white pine branches behind my house, jumping and making noise in the air. An osprey pecks a vortex in the glassy lake surface, grabbing a fish. A mink sneaks out from the swamp in front of my door, catching a frog on the shore. Sedge grass bends down under the fluttering of sparrows. Just half an hour ago, I listened to the train cars clattering, sometimes getting farther away, sometimes reappearing, sounding like partridges flapping their wings. The train is taking passengers from Boston to the countryside. Thoreau could hear the clattering of the train and witness scenes of nature like this. The locomotive's whistle passes through my woods all year round, sounding like the scream of an eagle flying over a farmhouse, telling me that many restless urban merchants are coming from Boston to the town, or daring rural merchants are coming here from the countryside. Walden Pond is in the western suburbs of Boston, very close to Boston. I have a senior fellow student living in Boston who says he walks by Walden Pond all day long. So if you go to Boston, don't miss this place. During the summer, after the night train passes, precisely at 7:30, the nightingales sit on the tree stumps in front of my door, or on the ridge, singing their evening prayers. Almost every night, they sing almost like clockwork, usually starting within 5 minutes of sunset. I have had a rare opportunity to understand their habits. Sometimes I can hear 4 or 5 nightingales singing simultaneously in the woods, one next to another, so close to me that I can not only distinguish each tone, but also a particular buzzing sound that sounds like a fly caught in a spider's web, only much louder. When other birds fall silent, the eastern screech owl is different. The screech owl is an owl. Their ancient hoots sound like the lament of a grieving woman. Their bleak cries are indeed in the style of Ben Jonson. Ben Jonson wrote a play called Song of the Siren. There is also a kind of screech owl serenading me. When heard close, you can imagine it as the most melancholic sound in nature, as if it captures the dying groans of humans made into a lead plate and forever preserves them in its song. They are like some faint remnants, abandoning all hope, howling like animals into the dark valley, but with a human sob, sounding even more terrifying due to some cackling melody. Inside Thoreau's cabin, various sounds of the natural world can be heard. But inside his cabin, there are also some sounds missing. What sounds are missing? He said, "I have no sound of mixing sound here, no sound of spinning wheel, no kettle's call, no tea kettle's hiss, and no children's shouts to comfort the heart. An old-fashioned man would lose his mind, or be bored to death before this. There are no mice even inside my walls, because they have all been starved out, or have never been tempted to crawl in. There is no rooster crowing, no hen clucking in the yard. There isn't even a yard, but nature without fences has always reached your threshold. In heavy snow, there is not a path leading to the front gate, and beyond that, there is even no gate. No front yard and no path to civilization.